Building the future, one dashboard at a time. Would you like to join us?
Imagine just for a second that you want to walk away from your job today, like right now.
Oh, man. I think everyone has that fantasy at some point.
Right. You are just completely burnt out on the 9 to 5 grind. You're exhausted by the commute, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead.
Yeah, and that fixed salary that barely keeps up with your grocery bills these days.
Exactly. You want out.
Allocate.
But here is the massive, paralyzing catch. Your bank account is sitting at zero.
Ouch. Yeah, that's the reality for a lot of people.
You have absolutely no startup capital. There's no rich uncle waiting in the wings, no secret savings account you can tap into.
And definitely no bank that's going to give you like a small business loan with zero collateral.
Never going to happen. You are starting from the absolute bottom. And I mean, it sounds like a completely hopeless scenario, right?
It really does. On paper, it looks impossible.
But what if I told you that the tools to build a multi-stream digital income are probably already sitting right there on your laptop or in the smartphone currently in your pocket?
It's crazy to think about, but it's true.
Right. What if you have everything you need to replace your income in 30 days, and the only thing missing is a roadmap?
I know exactly how that sounds, though. I mean, it sounds like a late-night infomercial pitch.
Oh, totally. Buy my course for 3 easy payments of $99.
Exactly. But when you strip away the hype and you actually break down the raw mechanics of modern digital platforms, the barrier to entry has quite literally fallen to zero.
Which is wild.
It is. We are living in a highly unusual economic moment. Historically, if you wanted to start a business, you needed capital. You had to buy inventory, rent a storefront, maybe hire staff.
The gatekeepers were entirely financial.
Right. Today, the gatekeepers are algorithmic. You can directly trade your time, your physical energy, and a little bit of strategic knowledge for cash, without ever asking a bank for permission.
And that is exactly our mission today for this deep dive. We are untacking a comprehensive blueprint for digital entrepreneurship completely from the ground up.
Using the framework from Dan Allen's source material, Money Making Money for Beginners.
Yep. But we aren't just going to give you a list of websites. We are going to look at the psychology, the hidden mechanics, and the step-by-step reality of 3 distinct pillars.
Craigslist, Fiverr, and YouTube.
The sources actually describe this as a modern 3 fishing rods in 1 pond approach, which I love.
It's a great analogy.
So by the end of this conversation, you are going to have a tactical roadmap to generate your first independent income within 30 days. And we're focusing solely on strategies that require 0 initial financial investment.
And it's really crucial to understand why we are focusing on these 3 specific platforms. They aren't just random websites pulled from a hat.
Right, there's a progression.
Exactly. They represent an escalating scale of economic principles. It's highly structured. We start by capitalizing on market inefficiencies with physical goods on Craigslist.
Okay.
Then we learn to optimize our workflow and throughput with digital services on Fiverr. Right. And finally, we take those digital skills and apply them to audience monetization through content creation on YouTube. You cannot just jump straight to the end. You have to build the foundation.
You know, as I was going through all the notes and the case studies for this deep dive, it honestly didn't feel like a business textbook at all. It felt like a video game skill tree.
Oh, I like that. How do you mean?
Think about any RPG you've ever played. You start at level 1, right? You have no armor, no money.
Just a wooden stick.
Exactly. You do very basic, physical, local tasks just to build up some quick gold. That's Craigslist. It's local, physical trade. You are grinding for that initial cash.
That makes a lot of sense.
Then, once you have a little bit of gold and experience, you unlock level 2. The digital freelance skills level, that's Fiverr.
You aren't doing physical labor anymore.
Right. You are scaling up your volume digitally. And finally, you gather enough momentum to reach the boss level, the passive income tier.
Which is YouTube content creation.
Yes, where you are building a digital asset that pays out over time even while you sleep.
That is a perfect analogy because it highlights the biggest mistake beginners make, which is trying to start with legendary gear.
Oh, everybody wants the shiny stuff first.
Always. But in this economic model, you start with the zero capital philosophy. The core thesis here is that you are substituting financial capital with 3 things: time, energy, and information asymmetry.
Information asymmetry, that's a big term.
It is. You are trading what you know and what you can physically do for cash, rather than using cash to buy inventory to sell.
Let's pause on that term, though, because I think it's foundational. Information asymmetry. For someone who hasn't taken a college economics class, what does that actually mean in the context of trying to make 50 bucks on a Tuesday?
Information asymmetry is really just a formal way of saying I know something you don't, or I see value where you see trash.
Okay, give me a real-world example.
So if I find a dusty, vintage, mid-century modern lamp sitting on a curb, the person who put it there just sees an old lamp they want gone.
Right, to them it's just garbage taking up space in the garage.
Exactly. Their information is limited to, this is taking up space. My information includes knowing that a hipster downtown will gladly pay $80 for that exact lamp on a classified site.
So the profit is literally just the gap in knowledge.
Bingo. That gap in knowledge, that asymmetry, is where your profit lives. You are getting paid for your superior market awareness.
I love that. So we are basically building a business out of digital duct tape and cardboard to start. We are relying entirely on hustle and awareness.
Precisely. And that brings us to a massive psychological hurdle for beginners. The essential gear trap.
Oh, this is such a big deal.
It really is. When people decide they want to start a digital business, their first instinct is usually to go buy things.
Yeah.
They think, I need a professional camera, I need a $1,000 laptop, I need like expensive studio lighting.
It's procrastination disguised as preparation.
That is the exact phrase, procrastination disguised as preparation. The sources are incredibly strict about this. On a tight budget, your essential gear is whatever you currently own. Period. You need a PC, Mac, or a basic laptop for editing and uploading. And you need a standard smartphone for photography and video creation. That is the entire list.
It's so funny how the text actively pushes back against the whole gear obsession. It lists all the free software you have to leverage to avoid spending any money.
Yeah, they don't want you spending a dime.
Like for email and account registrations across all these platforms, you just use a free Gmail account. For market research and understanding your audience, you use YouTube Analytics, which is built in and completely free.
You don't need a fancy SEO subscription yet.
Right. And a huge one for personal privacy, which we are definitely going to get into heavily later, you use Google Voice to create a free digital phone number.
Which is absolutely essential.
It really is. All of this costs $0. You are substituting software subscriptions with free Google tools.
And the economic rationale behind not upgrading immediately is vital. The sources provide a very specific do not buy yet list.
Oh yeah, what's on the ban list?
You do not buy DSLR cameras. You do not buy expensive audio gear, like the Zoom H4n, which the text specifically notes costs around $300.
Why? I mean, shouldn't quality be the focus?
Because buying that equipment up front puts your business in the red before you've made a single sale. You are creating a financial hole you now have to dig yourself out of.
That adds so much unnecessary pressure.
Immense pressure to a process you haven't even proven you can execute yet. Those tools are strictly for the advanced phase, months down the line when the business is already generating predictable cash flow.
But the sources do mention some cheap upgrades once you do have a tiny bit of cash coming in, right? Like we're talking about 20 bucks from your first successful flip, not $300 on a credit card.
Yes, exactly. Once you have validated the business model, meaning you have actually sold something and have early cash flow, you can reinvest a tiny fraction of it.
So what are we buying with that 20 bucks?
You can invest in a standard budget webcam. You can buy cheap halogen work lights from a local hardware store.
Oh, like those clamp lights.
Yeah, exactly. The text specifies these usually cost between $14 and $20. And eventually you might get a basic $20 pop filter and microphone. But the overarching principle here isn't about the gear itself.
What's it about then?
It's about a concept the author calls value provision and visual dominance.
Visual dominance. That sounds like really aggressive. But what does it actually mean when I'm just taking a picture of something I want to sell?
It means that the algorithms, and more importantly the human buyers, prioritize visual clarity over technical resolution.
Okay, break that down.
A well-lit, clean shot taken on a 5-year-old smartphone with a wiped-off lens will always perform better and sell faster than a poorly lit, messy shot taken on a $3,000 professional DSLR.
So it's about the staging.
Completely. If you use a massive, expensive camera, but the lighting is dark and there are, like, dirty clothes in the background, the buyer's brain registers the item as low value.
Because it just looks gross.
Right. But if you use an old iPhone and the item is wiped clean, sitting in bright natural sunlight against a blank wall, the buyer's brain registers high value. Visual dominance is about staging, not sensors. Premium gear early on is just a distraction from learning the actual psychology of selling.
That makes total sense. So we've got our free gear, our smartphone, our laptop, and our free software. We are at ground zero. Now we need our first source of actual cash.
Level 1.
We are hitting level 1 of the skill tree, Craigslist. We are shifting from theory to physical arbitrage. And this is where it gets really interesting because the text talks about exploiting the inefficiency flip.
Yes,
Can you break down the mechanics of this economic model for us?
absolutely. To understand an inefficient market, you have to look at an efficient one first.
Okay.
The stock market is highly efficient. Information is instantly available to millions of people simultaneously. You cannot easily buy a share of Apple for less than it's mathematically worth because thousands of computers track its exact value down to the millisecond.
Right, there's no secret discount on Apple stock.
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for highly tracked consumer electronics. If you try to flip a used iPhone 14, the buyer knows exactly what it's worth. The market is too efficient. They just Google the going rate, and if you are charging $10 more, they won't buy it. You won't make much margin.
Because there is no information asymmetry there. Everyone has the exact same information on their phone.
Exactly. But Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, local classifieds, these platforms thrive on inefficient markets.
Okay, how are they inefficient?
These are localized environments where buyers and sellers lack ample, instantaneous data on the true, objective value of an item. The value isn't mathematically fixed, it's heavily subjective.
And where there is subjectivity.
There's an opportunity for arbitrage. Arbitrage simply means buying low in one market and selling high in another. Or in our zero capital case, getting it for absolutely free and selling it at a subjective market price.
And the sources highlight 3 highly specific, high-profit niches for beginners to exploit this inefficiency. Number 1 is appliances.
Yes, that's a huge one.
The text notes that used appliances often sell for a quarter to a third of the cost of brand new ones. Number 2 is furniture and woodwork.
Because a solid oak dining table doesn't have a barcode with a fixed resale value tracked on the internet.
Exactly. Its value is entirely subjective based on how nice it looks in your photograph and how badly a local family needs a table right now.
Right.
And number 3 is tools and hardware. Wrenches, drills, lawnmowers. These are incredibly easy to acquire and highly liquid, meaning they're very easy to sell for cash quickly at places like local pawn shops or to local contractors.
So the theory is really sound. But how do you actually execute this without any capital?
Yeah, walk me through the steps.
The sources give a very explicit mechanical checklist for finding and flipping inventory from the free section. First, you log on and navigate to your local Craigslist directory or local classified app.
Okay, I'm with you.
Then, you aggressively bypass all the sales ads. You do not look at things that cost money. You click directly on the free link under the for sale category.
Okay, I'm picturing the screen right now. It's just a wall of text. Honestly, half of it looks like literal garbage. What am I actually hunting for here?
You are hunting for circumstantial desperation. You are looking for specific leftovers.
Like what?
The text suggests targeting remnants from weekend yard sales, sliding glass doors from home renovations, leftover firewood, or functional electronics from people who are suddenly moving away.
Oh, people moving are a gold mine.
They really are. But there is a massive non-negotiable criteria here, and the source explicitly underlines this. You must collect items in good condition.
Hold on, let me push back on that. If I'm getting it for free, shouldn't I just take whatever I can get? I mean, even if a chair is missing a leg, it's free. I can sell it for $5. Right?
Oh, no. That is exactly the trap that fills beginners' garages with literal trash.
Really?
Yes. If you take a broken item, you now have to invest time, materials, and specialized skills to fix it. That completely violates the 30-day speed rule.
Oh, because now I'm spending money on wood glue and screws.
Exactly. You want items that only require cleaning, not repairing. Why? Because acquiring a good condition item for $0 and selling it for anything above zero yields an infinite return on investment.
Or, as the text phrases it more conservatively, a 100% profit margin.
Right. You want to flip, not restore.
Okay, let's walk through a hyper-specific, real-world application of this. Let's do a case study directly inspired by the text, the appliance freebie flip.
Okay, let's do it.
Put yourself in this scenario. You log on to the free section early on a Saturday morning. You see a listing. A family is moving out of state. The moving truck is leaving at noon.
Total panic mode for them.
Right. And they have a refrigerator in the garage. It's slightly dirty. Maybe it has some like dinosaur stickers on it from their kids, but it works perfectly. They don't want to haul it. They don't want to pay a disposal fee to the city. They just want it off their property right now.
Their situational inefficiency is your financial opportunity. They are willingly trading potential cash for the convenience of immediate removal. They value time way more than the physical asset.
Exactly. So you message them, you go pick up this free refrigerator.
But let's pause right there because logistics matter. A beginner might say, well, I don't have a pickup truck. How do I move a huge refrigerator?
Right. I was just thinking that. Moving a fridge is a nightmare. Am I supposed
It's,
to rent a U-Haul? Because if I pay $40 for a U-Haul, I'm immediately violating the zero capital rule.
Precisely. If you do not have the physical capacity or the vehicle to move a large appliance, you simply do not source large appliances.
You pivot.
You pivot. You look for microwaves, window AC units, high-end blenders, or power tools. You scale your arbitrage to the exact size of your current vehicle.
That makes sense. But for the sake of the case study, let's assume you borrow a friend's truck or you already have a van.
Okay, so you bring this refrigerator home. Now, here's where the sweat equity replaces financial equity.
Right. You don't just drag it into your driveway and take a lazy picture. The text is brutal about this. You have to clean it inside and out. And I mean, really scrub it.
It has to shine.
You remove the kid stickers. You bleach the inside so it smells clean. You polish the outside. You are actively adding value through labor. You make it look as close to showroom new as humanly possible.
And then you leverage that visual dominance principle we talked about earlier. You take multiple photos, but the setting is critical.
So no photos in the dark garage.
No. Do not take the photo while the fridge is sitting next to a pile of oily rags. Move it to a clean wall, or even roll it out onto the green grass in the sunlight. You want the environment to signal cleanliness and functionality.
Okay, so the photos are done. Now what?
Finally, you relist it. But you do not put it back in the free section. You list it in the appropriate for sale appliance category.
And that transition, moving it from the free category to the for sale category after cleaning it, is the actual flip.
That's the business model right there.
But the listing itself has to be psychologically optimized for maximum buyer interest. The sources stress that terrible photos equal terrible sales, but there is a really vital, almost counterintuitive warning here regarding those photos.
Yeah, the text says to avoid extreme close-ups or ultra-high-resolution macro photos.
Wait, really? I would think you'd want the highest quality possible. Don't people want to see exactly what they're buying?
They want to see the whole item, but they do not want to see microscopic reality. The text explains the psychology behind this, and it's fascinating.
How does it work?
Think about how human vision works. When you look at a refrigerator in person, your brain filters out tiny, irrelevant details. But an extreme close-up photo highlights invisible, microscopic flaws. Tiny hairline scratches, specks of dust, little dents in the texture that the human eye would normally skip right over.
Oh, so the camera makes it look worse than it is.
Exactly. When a buyer looks at that photo, their brain artificially magnifies those flaws, and it degrades the perceived overall value of the item. It's a cognitive distortion.
Wow.
You want average, well-lit pictures taken from a few feet away that show the whole item accurately, without magnifying irrelevant imperfections.
That is a brilliant psychological trick. Just show them the fridge, don't shove a magnifying glass against the handle. Right.
Another psychological optimization trick the text details is the inflation cushion. When you write the listing for that fridge, you set the price slightly higher than your actual financial goal. Why do we do this? Because buyers on these local classified platforms expect to haggle. It's deeply built into the culture.
It's a classic application of the anchoring bias in behavioral economics.
Okay, break that down. How does the anchor work in a Craigslist haggle?
When you list the fridge for $75, that number becomes the psychological anchor. The buyer sees it and thinks, okay, the value is roughly $75.
Okay.
But because the culture demands haggling, they message you and offer $50. Now, if your secret goal all along was always to make exactly $50, you accept it.
And what happens in the buyer's brain then?
They just experienced a massive dopamine rush. They feel like they won a negotiation. They feel like they pulled you away from your anchor and scored a $25 victory.
So they're thrilled. Yes. You manufactured a psychological win for them while getting the exact amount of cash you originally wanted. If you had listed it for $50 initially, they would have offered $35 and you'd be stuck.
It's a game. You are playing the game of perceived value. But once that buyer bites, once they send that message saying, would you take 50? The next rule is paramount. The text calls it the swift reply rule. Speed is a closer.
This cannot be overstated. The text warns beginners to never keep buyers waiting for clarifications or answers.
Why the rush?
When someone messages you on Craigslist or Facebook, they usually have cash in hand, they have the afternoon free, and they're likely looking at 3 other refrigerators at the exact same time. Their motivation is peaking right at that second.
So if I wait 4 hours to reply because I was like watching Netflix.
That motivation evaporates. The market efficiency shifts, they find another seller, and you lose the flip. You must strike while the iron is hot.
Now, regarding that communication, as I was reading through the steps, I noticed a really funny contradiction in the notes. Let me see if I have this right.
Okay, what is it?
The text says I should include my phone number in the ad if I want to sell tangible, everyday items faster because people are impatient and want to text immediately.
Sure.
But then, literally a few paragraphs later, it says I shouldn't include my number if I'm selling a high-value item like a car or property. Why the double standard? Doesn't speed still matter for cars?
It does, but the ecosystem changes dramatically based on the value of the asset. It's a very practical nuance.
How so?
When you are selling a refrigerator, a lamp, or a drill, you are dealing with a standard individual retail buyer. Giving them your phone number facilitates a fast, direct, neighbor-to-neighbor sale.
Okay, but cars.
When you move into higher value inefficient markets like used cars, boats, or real estate, you are no longer just dealing with neighbors. If you post your raw phone number on a car listing, your phone will instantly be flooded by calls from professional used car dealers, aggressive lowballers, and automated broker bots just scraping the site for leads.
Ah, so you're dodging the professionals who are trying to flip your flip.
Exactly. You are trying to filter out the noise. By forcing email-only communication for high-value items, you create a deliberate point of friction.
So the bots can't get through.
Right. The automated bots and the lazy professional brokers usually won't bother writing a customized email. That friction filters out the spam and leaves you with genuine, individual buyers who are willing to take the time to message you. It protects your time and your sanity.
Okay, so that's level 1. We found the free fridge, we cleaned it, we took the right photos, we used the inflation cushion, haggled, replied swiftly, and now we have $50 cash in our pocket. We've proven to ourselves that we can generate income from thin air using just sweat and information asymmetry.
A huge milestone.
But here's the problem with level 1. It doesn't scale. Your back is going to start hurting from moving refrigerators, your garage only has so much space, and you are limited to a 10-mile geographic radius.
You hit a physical ceiling very quickly.
Exactly. You have hit a physical ceiling. So how do you scale when you run out of space and physical energy? You have to digitize. You take that momentum and you move to level 2 of the skill tree, Fiverr.
Yes, moving to digital volume.
We are shifting from physical arbitrage to digital volume. What exactly is the Fiverr ecosystem for someone who hasn't used it?
Fiverr is a massive global marketplace for digital freelance services. In its purest form, everything on the platform starts at a base price of $5, hence the name.
Right.
But you don't get all $5. The platform takes a 20% commission for hosting your service and processing the payment. This means for every $5 gig you successfully complete, you keep exactly $4.
And it's competitive, right?
Highly, highly competitive. It's a global market. The sources note that over 4,000 new services are added to the platform daily by people all over the world.
Okay, stop right there, because I know exactly what someone listening is thinking right now. How on earth do you make a living earning $4 at a time?
It sounds impossible.
It sounds like digital sweatshop labor. If I need to make $1,000 to pay my rent, I have to do 250 individual jobs. That sounds exhausting.
It would be if you did it wrong. And this brings us to one of the most mechanically important concepts in the entire deep dive, the 20-minute profit rule.
The math behind this is wild.
This is where the business model completely shifts from creative art to strict, unforgiving mathematics. The author breaks it down very clearly, and you have to internalize this math if you want to survive on level 2.
Let's do the math live.
Okay, let's say you want to make a gross hourly rate of $15. It's an entry-level freelance wage. But if you work just 4 hours a day at $15 an hour, that nets you about $800 a month. That's real money.
Absolutely. That covers rent in a lot of places.
To make $15 an hour, earning $4 per gig, you have to complete roughly 4 gigs per hour. Therefore, a $5 gig must consume no more than 15 to 20 minutes of your time from start to finish.
Wow, that is a tight window.
Very tight. If a customer orders a graphic and it takes you 45 minutes to communicate with them, design it, revise it, and deliver it, You just worked for $4.45.
That's way below minimum wage.
It is mathematically punishing. You cannot survive doing that.
It's an assembly line. You cannot be handcrafting bespoke, artisanal, digital goods for $5. You have to be Henry Ford. You have to invent the assembly line for your specific service.
That's the perfect way to look at it.
Let's look at case study number 2 from the text to see how someone actually does this in reality. The Facebook timeline cover seller.
This case study is the perfect example of throughput optimization.
Throughput optimization.
It just means how much product you can push through your system in a given time. The source details a specific seller who successfully sold over 800 gigs in a single year.
800? Just doing what?
They were just designing Facebook timeline covers and digital leaflets for small businesses.
Right. And here's the secret. They didn't do this by learning complex HTML coding. They didn't spend hours hand-painting digital portraits or drawing custom vector logos from scratch.
No, they would have starved.
They survived because they created a highly repeatable digital service. They used templates, they built a rigid system, the customer buys the gig, the automated system tells the customer, send me your logo and your text.
And then what does the seller do?
The seller receives those assets. They open Photoshop, they don't start from a blank canvas, they open a pre-made template with all the layers already set up. They drop the customer's logo in, paste the text, export the JPEG, and hit deliver. Boom. 10 minutes. $4 profit. Next.
They stayed strictly under that 20-minute limit.
Exactly.
That template-driven workflow is the absolute only way to scale on a micro-freelance platform. You are selling modular customization, not original creation.
But wait, before you can optimize your workflow and crank out these templates, you have to actually get someone to order from you in the first place.
Yes, the initial hurdle.
And this raises a massive, glaring question. How do you get your very first buyer when you have 0 reviews? I mean, think about it. If you go on Amazon to buy a phone case and one has 3,000 5-star reviews and the other has 0, you never buy the one with 0.
Never. The uncomfortable truth of these platform algorithms is that real buyers will not risk their money on an empty profile. It's the cold start problem.
So what do you do?
The algorithm uses historical data to rank sellers. If you have no history, you have no rank. If you have no rank, you get no traffic. This leads to what the text calls engineered social proof.
And I have to admit, this is where the tactics in the book get a little controversial. Let's talk about it practically.
Yes, we have to. It's in the text.
The text suggests that to break through that initial algorithmic barrier, you have to manufacture your first sales. It explicitly recommends having friends and family buy your first few gigs just to build a baseline portfolio.
Which is pretty mild.
But then, even more aggressively, it details utilizing a dummy account. You create a second account, buy your own gig twice, leave yourself glowing positive reviews, and then use software or cheap traffic to drive 250 forged visitors to the page to artificially increase your impression metrics.
From a purely mechanical standpoint, it is a highly pragmatic approach to achieving algorithmic visibility. The algorithm needs data points. You are artificially supplying those data points to jumpstart the engine.
But let me push back on that heavily. Put the algorithm aside. Doesn't that cross an ethical line? You are faking your reputation to trick the system. If I see a 5-star review, I assume a real human loved the work, not that the guy's cousin bought it or he bought it himself.
It's a very common friction point for beginners, and it is undoubtedly a gray area in digital marketing. However, the text approaches this not from a philosophical standpoint, but from a mechanical survival standpoint.
Explain that logic.
The author's views is that the platform's visibility algorithm is an artificial barrier to entry that disproportionately punishes new, capable sellers. If you are incredibly talented at making templates, the algorithm doesn't care. It only cares about data.
So it's fighting fire with fire.
In a way. The secret sauce, as it's called in the sources, is framed as a necessary jumpstart. You are engineering the initial social proof only to get your gig seen by real people.
Okay, I see.
Once real people buy, your actual real work quality has to sustain the reputation. If your template is garbage, real buyers will leave 1-star reviews, and the fake reviews won't save you. It's about breaking the initial visibility barrier. You are forcing the door open so real customers can see the value you provide.
Okay, I see the mechanical logic there. It's like priming an old school water pump. You have to pour a little bit of your own water into the top to get the vacuum seal going so the well can start pulling up water on its own.
That's a very accurate comparison.
You just have to make absolutely sure the water you're ultimately pulling up for the real customers is clean and valuable. So let's say we've primed the pump. We've mastered the 20-minute gig. We have digital cash flow coming in predictably. Now we reach the final stage, the boss level, the third pillar, YouTube.
The promised land of passive income.
We are moving from active digital labor to building an asset that generates passive income. And the very first thing the text does is shatter what it calls the great YouTube misconception.
This is critical. Most beginners approach YouTube with an incredibly romanticized view. They think their job is to be a filmmaker.
Right, they want to be Spielberg.
Exactly. They think it's about cinematography, artistic self-expression, or creating a cinematic masterpiece that will win awards. The text vehemently corrects this notion. If you are trying to build a reliable business, a YouTuber's real occupation is not being an artist. Your occupation is being an advertising partner.
That is a completely different mental framework. You aren't making movies. You are manufacturing inventory for Google's ad network. You are building billboards.
That's exactly what it is.
Billboards. Let's look at the economics of how that actually works, because people always ask, how do YouTubers actually make money?
It works through revenue sharing. Once you meet the platform's criteria, which currently involves specific subscriber counts and watch hour thresholds, you join the YouTube Partner Program.
And then what happens?
Once you are in, Google places advertisements before, during, and after your videos. Google collects the money from the advertiser, they keep 45% of that revenue for hosting the platform, and they pass the remaining 55% to you.
And how much is that actually worth? Like, what are the numbers?
It's measured in CPM, which stands for cost per mil, or cost per thousand views. The text notes that standard CPMs across general categories range from 30 cents to $2.50 per thousand views.
That doesn't sound like much.
It's not on the low end.
Right.
However, top players in highly specific lucrative niches like finance or software can hit a $10 CPM or higher.
So if you get 1 million views at a $10 CPM, that's a real life-changing money. But to get those views, the algorithm has to push your video. And because you are an advertising partner, the platform's algorithm exclusively rewards content that keeps viewers on the platform consuming more ads.
Exactly.
This brings us to a deep dive concept from the notes. Watch time and engagement over reach.
Let's break down how the algorithm decides who wins. The text discusses the direct versus indirect correlation of audience building.
What's the direct correlation?
The direct correlation is simple. Having more subscribers leads to immediate views the second you upload a video. It's a built-in notification system. You hit publish, and 10,000 people get a ping on their phone. That gives you an initial spike.
But the indirect correlation is the actual secret engine of YouTube, right?
Oh, absolutely. The indirect correlation is far more powerful for long-term growth. YouTube's algorithm doesn't just count clicks. A click means nothing if the person leaves immediately.
Right, because they didn't watch the ads.
Precisely. The algorithm measures engagement. How long people watch, if they rewind, if they click the like button, if they leave a comment. This engagement acts as a verification factor.
Verifying what?
If a video has a high percentage of watch time, meaning people watch 7 minutes of a 10-minute video, the algorithm mathematically verifies it as highly relevant and entertaining. It then takes that video and begins pushing it onto the home pages of new non-subscribed viewers.
So, to put it simply, a video with 1,000 views where everyone watched the entire thing will actively beat a video with 10,000 views where everyone clicked off after 5 seconds because it was clickbait. The algorithm rewards retention, not just clicks.
Absolutely, which is exactly why the text issues a massive warning against making long, boring videos or trying to produce high-budget web dramas.
Beginners make this mistake all the time.
They do. They max out their credit cards, buying cameras and paying actors to film a 10-episode web series because they want to be the next HBO. The source explicitly states these are unbelievably hard to market.
Why, though? Why does a high-quality web drama fail while some guy talking to a webcam about lawnmowers succeeds?
Because a web drama doesn't solve a specific problem or cater to a highly searchable niche. If I don't know who you are, I am not going to search for your fictional web series.
That's true.
But if my lawnmower is broken, I will search exactly for how to fix a Honda lawnmower carburetor. The guy fixing the lawnmower gets the search traffic, gets the watch time, and gets the ad revenue. The filmmaker gets crickets. You have to provide utility or highly targeted entertainment.
So how do you find the right niche? If I want to make money, shouldn't I just make videos about finance since it has the highest CPM?
You would think so, but the text explicitly says you shouldn't start a channel purely for the money, which seems a bit ironic given the title of the book.
A little bit, yeah.
But the psychology behind it is sound. The text warns that viewers have an incredible radar for authenticity. They can smell a lack of zeal.
They know when you're faking it.
Exactly. If you hate finance,
Yeah.
but you force yourself to read spreadsheet tutorials for the ad revenue, your delivery will be flat. You will burn out after 10 videos, and the audience will feel your boredom and click away, destroying your watch time.
You have to combine your actual genuine passion with what the text calls brand-safe content.
Yes, brand safety is paramount if you want to be an advertising partner. If you want Coca-Cola, Nike, or Ford to pay you, you have to make videos that they feel comfortable placing their multi-million-dollar logos next to.
It's the convergence of passion and commercial viability. If your deepest passion is going on profanity-laced political rants, you might get 1 million views from angry people, but you will not get ad revenue.
Brands will blacklist your channel instantly.
The advertiser mindset dictates that you curate your passion into a format that is friendly to monetization. You have to build a clean, well-lit billboard. Okay, so we've mapped out the theory behind the 3 pillars: Craigslist, Fiverr, YouTube. But let's pause. I want to do a real risk assessment. Let's specifically contrast the day-to-day risks of our first 2 platforms, Craigslist versus Fiverr, because the risks are fundamentally vastly different.
They are night and day.
I kind of view it like this. Craigslist is like setting up a folding table at a chaotic, unregulated street market in the middle of a city. You have to watch your wallet. You might get aggressively haggled by a stranger. Someone might try to pass you a fake $20 bill. And there are very real physical safety concerns.
It's the Wild West.
But Fiverr is like working in a strict, sterile corporate office where human resources will literally fire you instantly and escort you out of the building for breaking a minor protocol.
That is a very accurate analogy. Let's look at the Craigslist risks first. These are entirely physical and local. You are dealing with visceral realities.
Yeah, real-world problems.
You have the risk of bad actors, people who intend to scam or harm you. You have physical safety concerns when you are agreeing to meet strangers from the internet in person.
Which is always a little scary.
You have potential property damage risks if you allow strangers to come into your home to carry a heavy couch out. And you have local financial scams. People handing you counterfeit cash in a dark parking lot or trying to write you a personal check that will inevitably bounce 3 days later. The risks are physical, immediate, and tangible.
Right, you can literally get robbed. But what about Fiverr? You're sitting in your bedroom behind a screen wearing sweatpants. What's the real risk there?
The risk on Fiverr is entirely digital and reputational. It's algorithmic risk. You aren't going to get physically robbed, but your income stream can be vaporized overnight.
How?
For example, if you get overwhelmed and have a high rate of order cancellations because you can't fulfill your 20-minute templates fast enough, the platform's algorithm treats that as a massive red flag. They assume you are unreliable. Your search visibility plummets to 0 and your income stops.
Just like that.
Just like that. Furthermore, Fiverr actively and aggressively reviews all videos, images, and deliveries for copyright infringement. If you deliver a graphic gig using unauthorized copyrighted background music or a stolen stock photo watermarked from Getty Images, your gig gets rejected.
And if you do it again...
If you do it twice, your account is suspended. If you aggressively spam potential buyers with unsolicited messages begging for work, the platform simply bans your IP address. On Fiverr, the customer service department acts as the ultimate, unquestionable arbiter, and they will always prioritize the platform's overall integrity over any individual seller's livelihood.
So to sum that up, if Craigslist is about preserving your physical safety, Fiverr is about preserving your algorithmic safety, which leads perfectly into our next vital segment: essential digital safety and avoiding scams. We need strict protocols for both environments.
We absolutely do.
Let's start with the Craigslist privacy protocols. We touched on it briefly before, but the absolute #1 golden rule is the Google Voice Shield.
Yes. This is non-negotiable. You never, ever use your real personal cell phone number on a public classified ad.
Why is it so dangerous?
When you post an ad on Craigslist, bots scrape that data within seconds. If you use your real number, it gets added to hundreds of spam lists. You expose yourself to scammers, phishing texts, and endless late-night harassment from weirdos.
That sounds miserable.
It is. Setting up a free Google Voice number creates a digital firewall. It routes calls and texts seamlessly to your real phone, but you retain total control. You can block spammers with a single click, and if a transaction goes completely sideways and someone starts harassing you, you can literally delete the Google Voice number and generate a new one in 60 seconds. You sever the connection instantly.
Rule number 2 for local selling, the address rule. Never put your actual physical home address in a public ad. Just put your zip code or your general neighborhood. The text is very clear that putting your street address just invites random people to essentially window shop your courtyard or drive by your house slowly at 11 p.m. to see if the item is sitting outside. You only give the exact house number to the final confirmed purchaser, and only when they tell you they are actively in their car driving to you.
It keeps the looky-loos away.
And that leads to rule number 3, the most important one. The meeting protocol.
This is about mitigating that physical risk we discussed. Whenever possible, always meet in a well-lit, highly populated public place with surveillance cameras. A busy Walmart parking lot, a bustling public park, or the lobby of a local police station. Many of those now have dedicated safe exchange spots.
But we have to be realistic here. If you are selling a large, immovable item, like the refrigerator from our case study, or a heavy sleeper sofa, the buyer must come to your home to get it. When that happens, there are strict behavioral steps. First, meet them outside the house in the driveway first to assess the situation. Second, never close the front door during the transaction. Keep it wide open so you can be seen from the street and heard if there's an issue.
Crucial step right there.
And most importantly, have a friend, a roommate, or a relative physically present in the room with you. Never do an in-home cash transaction alone. It alters the power dynamic and significantly deters bad behavior.
It's just common sense. But when people see the prospect of $50 in cash, they get careless. They let their guard down.
Now let's flip over to the digital side. Fiverr reputation protection. How do you stay safe from the algorithm and from malicious buyers? Because let me tell you, working freelance means you will inevitably run into incredibly difficult, unreasonable clients.
Without a doubt.
The text has a very strict emotional rule about handling negative buyers. Never be rude or angry in your communication. It explicitly states this is not acceptable under any circumstances.
And this is incredibly hard for beginners because it's human nature to want to defend yourself. If a buyer orders a $5 logo, demands 20 revisions, ignores your instructions, and leaves a nasty comment, you want to tell them off.
You want to yell at them.
But you can't, because on a digital platform, the customer's text review is permanent and public. If you write an angry, defensive response, you aren't just talking to that one bad buyer. You are broadcasting your temperament to every single future buyer who reads your profile.
Ah, I didn't think of it that way.
An angry response validates the buyer's complaint. It makes you look volatile. You have to swallow your pride and remain humble and courteous, even when the buyer is objectively wrong.
But wait, what if they leave a brutal 1-star review that totally tanks your overall 5-star rating? Because if your rating drops to 4 stars, the algorithm stops promoting you. Is your business just over?
No. The source provides a truly brilliant, almost Machiavellian workaround called the mutual cancellation trick.
Tell me about this.
If a buyer leaves a negative remark, or if you sense they're about to because they are impossible to please, you do not fight them in the comments or the chat. You politely message them, apologize that the service didn't meet their expectations, and suggest a joint cancellation and a full refund.
It's a vital algorithmic loophole that saves careers, isn't it?
It really is. When both parties agree to a mutual cancellation, the order is voided. The money is automatically returned to the buyer's account. But here is the magic. Because the transaction was officially canceled, Fiverr scrubs the negative mark and the review from your public record. It vanishes as if the order never happened.
You essentially pay them $4 to go away and take their bad review with them.
Exactly. You sacrifice the $4 of immediate profit to protect the pristine 5-star rating that will generate $400 in future sales. It's a strategic retreat to preserve the long-term asset. You have to remove emotion from the equation.
I love that framing. A strategic retreat. Okay, I want to pivot to a bonus segment based on some really interesting notes I pulled from the sources. Let's call it what most people get wrong.
Let's do it.
We've spent a lot of time talking about what you should do, but the author dedicates a lot of ink to the common, insidious, business-killing pitfalls that beginners fall into every single day. Let's run through these platform by platform so our listeners don't step on these landmines, starting with Craigslist.
The most glaring, self-sabotaging mistake on Craigslist is stating the phrase, "I want to sell quickly," or must go today in your ad description.
Why is that so bad? I see that constantly. Moving this weekend, everything must sell quickly.
It creates urgency, right?
It creates urgency for you, but it broadcasts pure desperation to the buyer. It completely destroys your negotiating leverage.
Oh, I see. The moment a seasoned buyer reads must sell today, they know you are under an artificial time constraint. They know you care more about getting rid of the item than you care about the price. So instead of offering $50 for your $75 fridge, they will offer $20.
And just wait you out.
Exactly. And they will hold firm, knowing that at 9 p.m. tonight, you will panic and accept it. Stick strictly to the objective facts of the item. Never, ever reveal your personal urgency or emotional state.
That makes so much sense. You are handing them the leverage. Another major Craigslist pitfall, putting questions in the title of a tangible product ad, like looking for a great couch or need a cheap lawnmower.
That's so cheesy.
The text says this makes you look like a shady professional dealer rather than a regular neighbor just trying to clear out their garage. Buyers on these local platforms want to deal with regular people. When they see marketing speak in the title, their guard goes up. Just write, Blue Oak couch, good condition. Keep it boring and factual.
And finally, for local platforms, leaving sold listings active. If you sell the fridge on Tuesday, delete the ad on Tuesday.
Yeah, don't leave it up.
If you leave it up, it wastes buyers' time, it clogs up your own inbox with dead leads that you have to reply to, and it annoys people. Just delete it when the cash changes hands.
Now, looking at the digital side with Fiverr, there is a fascinating contradiction regarding what people get wrong. Throughout the book, the author heavily recommends that you learn SEO, search engine optimization. You need to learn how to use keywords to rank your own Fiverr gigs and your YouTube videos.
True.
However, the ultimate pitfall is purchasing cheap SEO services from other sellers on Fiverr to boost your own business.
Wait, I need to understand this. The platform is great, the business model works, but I shouldn't buy SEO from the very platform I'm selling on.
Precisely. Because, true, effective search engine optimization is incredibly complex. It requires ongoing analysis, high-quality backlink building, and deep content strategy. A person selling an SEO boost gig for $5 is not doing deep strategy.
What are they doing then? They're likely using automated bots, spammy link farms, and black hat tactics that violate Google's terms of service. If you point those spammy tactics at your own website or your YouTube channel, Google will eventually detect it and penalize or entirely de-index your content.
So they get you banned.
Yes. The text warns that because the failure of these cheap services directly and catastrophically hurts your core business, it's a risk you absolutely cannot outsource for $5. You have to learn to do it yourself.
That is a phenomenal warning. Don't buy cheap shortcuts for the foundation of your business. Another massive Fiverr pitfall we touched on earlier, but it bears repeating. Offering gigs that take hours to fulfill.
Like fixing complex software bugs.
Or writing long custom articles, doing deep research. If a task takes you 3 hours and you make $4, you are fundamentally failing the 20-minute rule. You are ruining your margin and you will burn out in a week. If you can't template it, don't sell it for $5.
And finally, let's look at the pitfalls for YouTube. These are entirely focused on audience misalignment and misunderstanding monetization. The absolute most fatal mistake a beginner can make. Targeting audiences that use ad blockers.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that from a demographic standpoint.
It's a silent killer. Imagine you decide to make highly technical programming tutorials for hardcore Linux software engineers. You spend hours writing code, recording your screen, and editing. Your videos are amazing. You get 1 million views.
Sounds like a success.
But your target demographic, software engineers, almost universally install browser extensions that block all advertisements. As the text states, if the ads are blocked, you earn not a single penny. You could be YouTube famous within the tech community and still not be able to buy a cup of coffee.
That is brutal.
You must align your content with demographics that actually consume and react to advertisements, like personal finance, cooking, lifestyle, or general entertainment.
Another YouTube pitfall. Capturing only slides or screen recordings without ever showing your face. A lot of beginners do this because they are shy or don't want to be on camera, but the sources say this destroys the personal brand connection.
People subscribe to people, not to PowerPoint presentations.
Right. If you don't show your face, you are highly replaceable. If you show your face, you build a parasocial relationship, which drives that engagement and watch time we talked about earlier. And finally, the text explicitly warns against being overly negative, cynical, or engaging in constant rages on camera.
It all goes back to the advertiser mindset. Your channel is a billboard. Advertisers want to be associated with positive, feel-good environments, or at least informative ones.
Nobody wants their ad next to a screaming match.
If your entire channel is just you angrily complaining about movies or video games, it acts as a downer. Brands will actively opt out of placing their products next to an angry rant. Keep the billboard clean, well-lit, and in a good neighborhood.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. We've done the theory, the mechanics, the psychology, the risks, and the pitfalls. But information without application is just entertainment. Now, let's bring it all together into execution.
The fun part.
This is the core mission of this deep dive. Let's synthesize everything we've learned from the text into a clear, actionable 30-day, step-by-step roadmap to your first independent income. Let's break it down by week, assuming you are starting tonight after work. Week 1, foundations.
Week 1 is entirely about building infrastructure. It requires zero capital, just a few hours of focused setup in your evenings. First, you register all your accounts: Craigslist, Fiverr, and YouTube. You create a brand new, dedicated Gmail address specifically for your business so it doesn't get mixed up with your personal emails.
Keep it separated.
You link your new Fiverr account to a PayPal account, which is also free to set up so you can actually receive your money. You set up your Google Voice number to ensure your Craigslist privacy from day one.
And crucially, in week 1, you do not just set up accounts. You execute your first physical sourcing. On Saturday morning, you log onto the Craigslist free section. You find an appliance or a piece of solid wood furniture in good condition. You borrow a car if you have to, and you bring it home.
And then for Fiverr.
Finally, you spend at least 10 to 20 minutes crafting a professional, clean Fiverr identity and writing a clear profile description. That's week 1. You exist in the digital ecosystem. You have inventory.
Moving to week 2, the active phase. This is where you flip the switch and go live. You take that free physical item sitting in your garage, you clean it meticulously, you wait for good daylight, take your well-lit photos avoiding extreme close-ups, and you list it in the for sale section with a 20% inflation cushion built into the price.
On the digital side, in week 2, you launch your first 3 to 5 Fiverr gigs. And remember, these aren't random complex tasks. They are strictly optimized for the 20-minute rule. You build your Photoshop templates or your writing templates before you even get an order.
Preparation is key.
For YouTube, you sit down with a notebook and clearly define your niche and personal brand, ensuring it crosses your passion with advertiser safety. And throughout all of this, you obey the swift reply rule for any inquiries that come in on your Craigslist ad.
By the end of week 2, you have physical inventory actively on the market, digital services officially open for business, and a content strategy defined. That leads us into month 1, the momentum phase.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where most people quit, actually, but it's where the actual business is built.
Yeah.
This is about establishing consistency and reputation.
Right. This is where you apply the controversial secret sauce to Fiverr. You get friends, family, or use the dummy account method to get those first few 5-star reviews so the algorithm actually starts showing your template gigs to real buyers. You initiate your strict YouTube posting schedule.
Like every Wednesday and Friday.
Right. Training the algorithm that you are a dependable creator.
And you must rigorously maintain your physical listings. The text provides a specific operational rhythm here. If a Craigslist item hasn't sold in 7 to 10 days, you don't just leave it there to sink down to page 5 of the search results where no one will ever see it.
What do you do instead?
You delete the ad entirely and repost it fresh. This bumps it back to the top of the category as a new listing. Finally, during this month, you handle any early negative feedback on Fiverr gracefully, utilizing the mutual cancellation trick if necessary to protect your nascent 5-star rating.
If you follow that roadmap step by step, the text asserts you will have generated your first income, validated 3 entirely different business models, and laid the groundwork for scalable revenue.
Okay, before we map out our final thoughts, I want to do something a little different.
Sounds good.
I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone listening to this who still has a few nagging doubts or technical questions. Let's do a rapid-fire reality check. Let's clear up the most common friction points beginners have straight from our notes. Ready?
I'm ready. Let's clear the air. Okay, first doubt. I know we said Craigslist is free, but doesn't the platform charge you to post ads? I don't have a budget for listing fees right now.
For general users buying and selling standard items like our refrigerator or a couch, it is completely free, zero cost. However, Craigslist does charge fees if you scale up and become a professional advertiser in highly specific commercial categories,
Like what?
like job postings, real estate, or commercial car sales. The text notes these vary by city. For example, a job posting might be $10 in New York, or a real estate ad up to $75 in San Francisco. But for the beginner flipping household goods, you will not encounter a paywall.
Okay, next reality check. If I am really starting with $0, how do I actually make money without spending my own first? It still feels like a trick.
It's not a trick, it's the free section flip. You source a functional item from the free category. Your cost of goods sold is 0. You apply labor, cleaning it. You apply marketing, taking a good photo, and you relist it in the for sale category.
So it's all margin.
Because your initial cost was 0, every single dollar you make when you hand that item over is a 100% pure profit margin.
Third doubt. We talked about Fiverr and the cold start problem. Let's say I refuse to use the dummy account method. I just don't want to do it. How do I get my first buyer when nobody wants to go first?
If you won't engineer social proof artificially, you have to engineer it socially. You have to aggressively leverage your real-world network. You call your friends, your family, or your former coworkers.
And just beg them.
You say, I am starting a graphic design hustle. I need reviews. If you buy my $5 gig, I will design something you actually need, and I will hand you the $5 back in person. You're essentially doing the work for free in exchange for a verified 5-star data point on the platform.
Okay, YouTube. How do I actually get the money into my bank account? Is it just a penny per view that builds up somewhere?
It's not per view. You get paid by joining the YouTube Partner Program and linking a Google AdSense account to your channel. Google places the advertisements on your videos, and they track exactly how many times those ads are viewed or clicked.
And then?
At the end of the month, they calculate your 55% split of that ad revenue, and they direct deposit the funds directly into your linked bank account.
Let's talk safety again. Is it genuinely safe to meet strangers from Craigslist? I watch the news, people get scammed or worse.
It is statistically very safe if you follow strict, unbending protocols. Never compromise. Always meet in highly visible public places like a busy store parking lot during daylight hours.
But if they have to come to my house?
If you absolutely must sell a large item at your home, control the environment. Meet them outside the house first to gauge their demeanor. Never close the front door during the sale. And ensure a friend or relative is physically present in the room with you. If a situation ever feels off, you walk away immediately.
Final doubt. I've been posting videos on YouTube for a month, and I am getting literally 0 views, not 10 views, 0. What is broken?
Assuming the algorithm isn't completely broken, the problem is usually a combination of 3 things. First, poor production quality. Bad audio is a faster killer than bad video. Second, bad metadata, meaning your titles and tags aren't searchable.
So if I name my video Vlog 4,
Nobody is searching for that. If your title is How to Fix a Leaky Faucet in 5 Minutes, thousands of people are searching for that. Third, you are failing to address a specific need or provide targeted entertainment for a defined audience. Furthermore, if you are swearing constantly and your content isn't brand safe, the algorithm will quietly bury your video because it cannot monetize it.
Brilliant. That clears up so much. Okay, let's zoom out and summarize the massive journey we've unpacked today. We started with absolutely nothing but a laptop, a smartphone, and a desire to escape the 9-to-5.
Ground zero.
We used Craigslist to generate immediate physical cash flow by exploiting inefficient local markets and applying our own sweat equity. We took that momentum and confidence to build scalable, high-volume digital skills on Fiverr, mastering the math of the 20-minute rule to turn time into a predictable, template-driven hourly wage.
And finally,
we learned how to plant the seeds for long-term passive wealth on YouTube by adopting an advertiser mindset and building an audience asset.
it really is a brilliant progression. Craigslist funds your life today. Fiverr builds your scalable digital skills for tomorrow. And YouTube builds an asset that pays you passively in the future. It is a complete, self-sustaining economic ecosystem designed specifically for someone starting from absolute zero.
It is. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a provocative thought, something to really chew on as you go about your day, maybe while you're sitting in traffic on your way to that job you want to leave.
Well, this should be good.
Think about this. We willingly spend 40 hours a week, sometimes 50 or 60, optimizing a corporation's bottom line in exchange for a fixed capped salary. We give them our best energy to make them more efficient. What would happen if you took just 4 of those hours a week, just your Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and applied them to optimizing an inefficient market for yourself?
It's an incredibly powerful question. It fundamentally challenges the default narrative of how we value our own time and where we direct our energy.
Exactly. How much is your comfort zone actually costing your income zone? We love the comfort of that visible, clean x-ray of a steady paycheck. It's safe. It's what we were taught to pursue. But when you step into the muddy, chaotic waters of digital entrepreneurship, you realize that the corporate job is just one tool, and you have the power to build your own.
Well said.
Building a business is not a genetic trait. It is a muscle. And right now, if you've never done it, that muscle has atrophied. You have to start lifting the light weights. You have to lift the free refrigerators. You have to fulfill the $5 gigs. You have to build the foundational strength before you can lift the heavy weight of passive income.
Start small, but start today.
So flex that muscle today.
Yep.
Make sure you subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss our next session where we unpack more incredible frameworks. And explicitly right now, go check out the affiliate link in the show notes to grab the tools, the free software links, and the resources we mentioned today, and start your week 1 setup tonight. Do not let this just be another interesting thing you listen to on your commute. Make it the thing you actually acted on. Until next time, keep diving deep.